Ladies and gentlemen, hear me today, not with your ears only, but with your heart. There comes a time in every man's life and every woman's life when they must face a hard truth. The life you're living now is the result of the person you've been, but the life you want depends on the person you're willing to become. You can cry, you can complain, you can pray and plead and shout to the heavens, but I tell you the truth, your life won't change until you do. You can switch cities, you can get a new job, you can get new friends, a new haircut, a new car. But if your mind stays the same, if your heart stays the same, you will always end up back in the same place. You see, the real battle isn't out there. A refusal to forgive, that's what's holding you back. Not your boss, not your parents, not the economy, not even the devil. Listen to me, you can't expect resurrection. To want new life, the old one has to die. The excuses have to die. The laziness has to die. The bitterness has to die. You say, I want peace, but won't lay down your grudge. You say, I want joy, but won't give up your comfort zone. There is no transformation without decision. There is no progress without repentance. Yes, change is hard. It hurts. It will break you before it builds you. But if you surrender, if you let go of who you were, you'll see a power move in your life that no man can deny. You were not made to be stuck. You were not born to be broken. You were created for more. But that more is locked behind the door called change, and you hold the key. So I ask you now with urgency in my voice and fire in my bones, will you stay as you are, or will you become who you were born to be? As your life won't change until you do. You see, the world tells you that if you just change your clothes, change your phone, change your job, change your partner, change your neighborhood, change your schedule, then somehow you'll feel whole, somehow you'll be satisfied, the ache in your chest will go away. I came to tell you that unless you change the hidden man, the secret place, the inner temple, the core of who you are, all the surface changes in the world won't mean a thing because change begins within, and if nothing shifts in the soul, everything else will eventually fall back into the same pattern, the same loop, the same defeat. You can run to the mountains, run to the beaches, run to success, run to a pulpit, run to a bottle, run to a relationship, run to applause, but you will still meet yourself there. You will still carry your wounds, your regrets, your broken beliefs like invisible luggage packed full of shame and fear and pride and guilt. And until you open that bag and deal with what's inside, until you look in the mirror of your own soul and stop pretending you're fine, stop performing for people, and start transforming from within. You'll always feel stuck, always feel hollow, always feel like something's missing, because change begins within, and no amount of outward running can heal an inward wound. People spend their whole lives rearranging the furniture of their circumstances, painting the walls of their reality, redecorating the scenery of their days. And yet they wonder why nothing really feels different, why the peace won't stay, why the joy won't come, why the love doesn't last. And it's because the foundation has cracks. The structure is unstable. The blueprint was never changed, and unless you tear down the strongholds in your mind, the lies you've believed, the pain you've buried, the habits you've protected, you will keep building a future that collapses under the weight of your unchanged self. Because change begins within, and until the inside is made new, the outside will always reflect the brokenness you refuse to confront. There is no true freedom in a new location. There is no true breakthrough in a new relationship. There is no lasting joy in a new possession. The old self still rules the throne of your heart, because wherever you go, you carry your choices, your patterns, your thoughts, your memories, your beliefs. And if those things are chained by the past, infected with bitterness, poisoned with fear, you will find that no matter what new thing you reach for, it will eventually rot in your hand. Because change begins within, and healing must begin in the hidden place where only you and your Creator truly know what's there. And so many cry out for answers, cry out for rescue, cry out for deliverance, but they don't realize that the answer is not around them. It's in them. It's in the courage to face the mirror. It's in the humility to say, I was wrong. It's in the faith to let go of old identities, old labels, old wounds. And when that kind of internal fire is lit, when that kind of transformation is ignited from the inside out, nothing can stop it, nothing can fake it, nothing can duplicate it, because it wasn't given by man and it can't be taken by man. Because change begins within, and when the soul surrenders, the whole life starts to shift like dry bones coming back to. You don't need a new day, you need a new heart in the same day. You don't need a new year, you need a new you in the same year. You don't need everyone else to change. You need your own eyes opened, your own mind renewed, your own spirit awakened. And that only happens when you stop trying to fix the world and start allowing the truth to fix you. When you stop being a victim of your circumstances and start becoming a vessel for something greater than your past, something more powerful than your pain. Because change begins within, and when the inside is made whole, the outside starts to follow. You can attend every seminar, listen to every podcast, read every book, quote every affirmation, go to every service, shout every prayer. But until you let that truth penetrate past your ears and into the soil of your spirit, until you stop treating symptoms and start addressing the root, until you stop blaming others and start owning your journey, the cycle will continue, the change will remain, the chairs will... Simple but not easy. Change begins within, and no one else can do it for you. Because at the end of the day, the only person you truly have control over is the one staring back in the mirror. The only soul you are responsible for is the one wearing your name. And until that person chooses growth over comfort, faith over fear, obedience over pride, forgiveness over resentment, light over darkness, you will keep asking for change and resisting the very process that brings it. You will keep praying for fruit without planting new seeds. You will keep hoping for rain, but refusing to plow the field, and you will never see the harvest you were born to reap. Because change begins within, and until the inside shifts, the outside never will. You can pack your bags and leave tonight. You can drive 1,000 miles in the opposite direction of your past. You can buy a plane ticket, cross oceans, change your name, delete your number, burn your journals, and throw away every trace of who you used to be. But I'm here to tell you that no matter how far you go, no matter how fast you run, you can't outrun yourself, because your feet may escape the scene, but your soul still carries the evidence, the fingerprints, the scars, the habits, the secret. And when the dust settles and the noise fades and the lights go out, there you are, just you and you, eye to eye with the version you've tried so hard to bury, but never dared to truly face. You can start over 100 times, move to new towns, meet new people, switch careers, join new churches, get new followers, find new lovers, post new photos with fake smiles and rehearsed captions. But if the old wounds are still bleeding beneath the surface, if the old lies are still echoing in the dark corridors of your mind, if the old fears are still whispering through your silence, you will find that you can't outrun yourself, because you are not just escaping places. You are carrying pain, dragging chains, hiding from the mirror, building a future with bricks made from a past you never made peace with. And you may fool people for a while. You may convince them that you're brand new, that you're free now, that you're different, that you've changed, that you're doing just fine. But the truth is, when the applause fades, and the attention diet grows quiet, and the mass... No, you can't outrun yourself, because the truth always finds a way to rise, always finds a crack to leak through, always finds a moment to confront you, not to condemn you, but to call you back to the place where healing was ignored and honesty was replaced. You can blame your parents, your ex, your friends, your upbringing, your trauma, your job, your environment, but no matter who hurts you or how deep the wound goes, you can't outrun yourself. Because healing doesn't begin when they apologize. It begins when you stop running and start reckoning with what's inside of you. The unresolved grief, the anger you renamed to strength, the numbness you call to peace, the pride you confused for power, the shame you buried beneath busy schedules and empty distractions, pretending you're okay while bleeding behind a smile. You can try to change the scenery, decorate your prison, distract your soul, sedate your pain. But if the internal war rages on, if the storm still howls beneath your skin, if your thoughts still torment you and your heart still accuses you, no matter what you wear, what you drive, where you live, or what title you hold, you can't outrun yourself, because you are not your achievements. You are not your selfies. You are not your paycheck or your platform. You are the one who wakes up in your body every morning and lives in your thoughts every night. And if that person is still chained, and everything else is just decoration. You may think if you just find the right person, if you just land the right job, if you just get one more chance, if you just prove them all wrong, then you'll finally feel whole, finally feel clean, finally feel free. But I tell you, even paradise will feel like prison if your soul is still enslaved. Because you can't outrun yourself, and freedom is not found in distance. It's found in surrender and truth and facing the shadows you were afraid to name and dragging your demons into the light and saying, I'm not running anymore, I'm not hiding anymore, I'm ready to change. It's not about shame, it's not about guilt, it's not about reliving the pain. It's about reclaiming the power you gave away, redeeming the story you tried to erase, stepping out of survival and into transformation. Because once you stop running, Once you sit with the broken pieces and allow the process to begin, once you stop blaming and start building, then you'll understand the beauty of becoming, the strength of stillness, the grace that meets you in your honesty. And you'll finally begin to see what you could never find while running, that you can't outrun yourself, but you can confront yourself. You can forgive yourself. You can grow beyond yourself, and that's where real freedom begins. Because no matter how far your feet take you, your soul still follows, your patterns still repeat, your heart still remembers, and until you decide to stop escaping and start transforming, you will keep circling the same mountain, chasing the same high, building the same house on sinking sand, and wondering why nothing ever feels new, why the weight never truly lifts, why the peace never really lasts. And the answer will echo again and again, louder each time. You can't outrun yourself, but you can meet yourself, heal yourself, and by the grace of God, become someone new. Every day, every moment, every breath you take, you stand at a crossroads where the path you choose leads you closer to the future you desire or drags you deeper into the chains you want to break, because your choices shape your future and the small decisions you make when no one is watching. The words you speak to yourself in silence, the thoughts you nurture in the dark corners of your mind, the habits you form in the quiet hours, these things are the seeds that grow into the life you will live tomorrow, next year, and beyond. You might say, I'm just one person. What difference does it make? But every giant oak was once a single acorn making a quiet choice to grow. And just like that, your future is not shaped by the grand moments alone, but by the steady daily choices you make, whether to rise or fall, to forgive or hate, to build or destroy, to speak life or death over your dreams. Because your choices shape your future, and every action you take is a brushstroke on the canvas of your destiny. You might regret the past, curse the circumstances, blame the weather or the world, but I tell you the truth. No matter where you came from, no matter what was done to you, no matter how dark the night seemed, your choices shape your future. And when you decide to take responsibility for your life, when you stop playing the victim and start playing the warrior, when you begin to sow wisdom where you once sowed foolishness, that is when your future begins to turn. There will be moments when the road is hard, when temptation calls louder than reason, when giving up seems easier than fighting on. But remember that every choice you make in those moments is a vote for the life you will live tomorrow. So choose courage, choose patience, 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 patience. Choose to believe that better is possible, because your choices shape your future, and the way you respond to trial today plants the harvest you will reap in joy later. Do not be fooled by thinking that only the big dramatic choices matter. The little things count too. The choice to wake up early, the choice to say no to harm, the choice to love when it's hard, the choice to pray when you feel empty, the choice to keep going when you want to stop. Because your choices shape your future, and these small acts of faith and discipline stack up like bricks building the foundation of a life that cannot be shaken. There will be people who tell you it's out of your hands, who say you're a victim of your circumstances, who want to keep you powerless and stuck in the old story. But I'm here to remind you that power is found in the choices you make each day. Power to rise, power to change, power to grow, because your choices shape your future, and you are never too broken, too late, or too small to decide to walk the path of hope instead of despair. So when the night seems long and your heart feels weak, remember that you are the author of your story, the captain of your soul, the builder of your destiny. And though you cannot control your choices, and with each one, you are either stepping into freedom or stepping back into bondage. So choose wisely, choose boldly, choose with the knowledge that your choices shape your future, and every step forward is a victory over the past. And the beautiful truth is that every moment is a new opportunity to choose differently, to choose better, to break the chains that once held you, to dream bigger than yesterday, to live stronger than before, because your choices shape your future, and the life you want is waiting on the other side of the decisions you make right now, in this very breath and in this very heartbeat. So never underestimate the power that lies within your hands. There's a mighty paradox that many fail to see, that true freedom does not come from escaping responsibility or blaming others for your plight, but rather it is found when you take full ownership of your life, your choices, your mistakes, your pain, and your power, because responsibility is freedom. And when you refuse to blame the world, refuse to make excuses, and refuse to hide behind circumstances, you step into a place of authority over your own destiny, where no one else can hold your future hostage. But you see, it is easy to live as a victim, easy to point fingers, easy to say it's not my fault, easy to carry grudges and lay blame like a heavy burden. But in that place, you are a prisoner shackled by your own refusal to take control. Whereas when you stand up and say, I am responsible for where I am today, when you look squarely at your past and your present and say, I will no longer let these things define me. That is the moment you break the chains, because responsibility is freedom and power is released when you own your story. Many think freedom means doing whatever they want, living without rules or consequences, but true freedom comes when you understand that living without responsibility only leads to chaos, emptiness, and despair. And when you accept the call to be responsible for your words, your actions, your relationships, your dreams, you begin to build a life rooted in purpose and strength, because responsibility is freedom, and freedom flourishes when it is carried on the shoulders of accountability and integrity. You may fear responsibility because it sounds heavy, demanding, costly, but that very fear is what keeps you bound and defeated, because avoiding responsibility means you're giving your power away to others, to your past, to your failures. And the moment you embrace it, when you decide to say, I'll take charge of my healing, my growth, my future, that is when the prison walls crumble and you taste the sweetness of true liberation. Because responsibility is freedom and courage is the key that unlocks the door. There are no shortcuts on the road to freedom, no magic pills or easy answers, just the hard work of choosing every day to be faithful to your commitments, to confess your wrongs, to make amends, to learn and grow, to refuse to be defined by your failures. Because in that daily discipline of ownership, your spirit is strengthened, your vision sharpened, your future brightened, and that is why responsibility is freedom. Because it transforms weakness into strength and despair into hope. You might be tempted to think that freedom is waiting for the perfect circumstances, the perfect time, and the perfect opportunity. But the truth is, freedom begins the moment you say, I am responsible. No matter how messy your life is, no matter how broken your past, no matter how heavy your burdens. Because responsibility is freedom, and it sets you free not by removing your challenges, but by changing how you face them with grace and power. Imagine a life where you no longer run from your problems, no longer hide from your truth, no longer blame others for what's missing, but instead boldly in the light of ownership, where every choice, every word, every step is yours and yours alone. And in that life, you find a freedom that no one can take away, because responsibility is freedom. And that freedom is the foundation of a life lived with purpose, dignity, and hope. So today, if you feel trapped by circumstances, weighed down by regret, or powerless in your own story, hear this. You hold the key to your freedom in your hands, and that key is called responsibility. And when you grasp it, when you claim it, when you live it with courage and faith, your life will begin to shift like the dawn breaking through the darkest night, because responsibility is freedom, and true freedom is never found outside yourself, but within the power of choosing to own who you are and who you will become. Faith is not a quiet whisper hidden in the heart, nor is it a mere wishful thought that sits idle waiting for miracles to fall from the sky. No, true faith is a living, breathing force that moves mountains, stirs the soul, and demands movement, because faith without action is dead, and a faith that does not step forward, that does not take the first shaky step into the unknown, that does not move even when the path is dark and uncertain, is a faith that cannot bring change or hope or victory. You may say, I believe, I trust, I hope, but if those words do not produce fruit in your life, if they do not cause you to rise and do what is right, if they do not inspire you to fight for your dreams, to stand for your truth, to love the unlovable, then your faith is nothing more than a shadow, an echo without power, because faith without action is dead, and faith that does not work through your hands and feet remains powerless in you. There is a call on every believer's life, not just to believe in a better tomorrow, but to act toward that better tomorrow, to plant seeds of kindness, to build bridges of peace, to labor in love, to step into the fire with courage, because God honors not only the faith in your heart, but the footsteps you take in obedience. And the moment you begin to walk in faith, the invisible becomes visible, the impossible becomes possible, the dead begins to live. Because faith without action is dead, and faith shines brightest when it moves in tandem with works. Many hold tightly to the hope of miracles, but refuse to lift a finger, waiting for the heavens to part without doing the work below. And that waiting kills faith slowly, silently, like a flame starved of oxygen. But the faith that God blesses is the faith that fuels action, that rolls up sleeves, that steps out of comfort, that refuses to sit idle in despair, because faith without action is dead, and every miracle is born in the womb of obedience. You might feel weak, unprepared, scared, or unsure, but those feelings are not the absence of faith. They are the test of faith, the invitation to move forward despite uncertainty. And the moment you choose courage over comfort, the moment you choose to act, even when your heart trembles, that's when faith comes alive. That's when your prayers find power. That's when your destiny begins to change, because faith without action is dead. And the living faith is the faith that dares to do. Action does not mean perfection. It means willingness. It means persistence. It means falling and rising again. It means showing up when you don't feel ready. It means loving when it's hard, forgiving when it hurts, believing when it seems impossible. Because that's the faith that moves mountains and changes lives. And that's why faith without action is dead. Because faith is not just belief, but a divine energy that requires motion to manifest its power. Don't wait for everything to be perfect. Don't wait until fear disappears. Don't wait for a sign from heaven if your feet refuse to move. Because the very act of stepping out is a declaration that your faith is alive, that you trust the unseen, that you believe in the promise, that you are ready to partner with grace. And when you act, the heavens respond, the road opens, the burdens lift, because faith without action is dead, and faith in motion is faith on fire. So today, hear this call ringing like thunder in your soul. Faith alone will not carry you. Faith alone will not save you. Faith alone will not change your world. But faith that moves, faith that labors, faith that loves, faith that perseveres will bring life to your dreams, power to your prayers, and victory to your soul, because faith without action is dead, and a faith that breathes is a faith that works. There is a silent, subtle enemy that creeps into the heart, disguised as peace, wrapped in the soft robes of ease and safety, whispering lies that tell you it's enough, that you've arrived, that there is no need to move or grow or fight any longer. But I tell you today that the greatest enemy is comfort. Breeds complacency, it breeds stagnation. It dulls the fire within, and it chains the soul to life half-lived when you were created for greatness, for struggle, for breakthrough, and for relentless pursuit of the extraordinary. It's easy to settle into comfort, easy to choose the familiar path, the known routine, the predictable day, the safe job, the quiet mind, the easy faith. But every time you choose comfort over challenge, you choose a slow death to your dreams, a shrinking of your vision, a fading of your passion. And the enemy smiles, because comfort keeps you small, keeps you safe, but keeps you from becoming who you were meant to be. And that is why the greatest enemy is comfort, because it convinces you that safety is the highest good, when in truth, it is the cage that imprisons your potential. When you feel the call to step out, to risk, to fail, to try again, to stretch beyond what you think you can do, that feeling is a sign that comfort is fighting to hold you back. That comfort is desperate to keep you in the shallow end of life, where no storms come, no growth happens, no miracles rise, but your soul was made for more, made for battles, made for storms, made for victory. And the only way forward is to say no to comfort and yes to the challenge, because the greatest enemy is comfort, and freedom is found on the other side of discomfort. Comfort tells you to stay quiet when your voice is needed, to stop dreaming when your heart is set on fire, to accept less when you are meant for more, to give up when the prize is within reach. But the warrior within you must rise and push back, must choose pain over numbness, struggle over ease, over doubt, courage over fear, because the greatest enemy is comfort, and victory belongs to those who refuse to be lulled into silence of the softness of ease. There will be moments when comfort looks like rest, when it feels like peace, when it comes dressed as healing, and you must discern well, because rest is necessary, but complacency is deadly. And to know the difference is to know the enemy by sight. So you guard your heart, you challenge your mind. You stretch your spirit, you refuse to accept a life that falls short of your calling, because the greatest enemy is comfort, and every great story, every great soul, every great victory was born from a refusal to settle. Comfort hides behind excuse, behind fear, behind the I'm too tired, maybe later on the what if I fail. But the truth is, failure is far better than regret. Risk is the only path to reward. And moving forward, even when it's hard, even when it hurts, even when the future is the only way to break free from the enemy's grip, because the greatest enemy is comfort, and courage is the weapon that cuts the chains. So when you feel the pull to stay where you are, to hold on to what's easy, to protect yourself from the unknown, remember that the enemy is whispering lies meant to keep you trapped, but you were made to soar, to climb, to fight, and to win, and the price of comfort is the loss of your destiny. So break free, step forward, embrace the discomfort of growth and transformation, because the greatest enemy is comfort, and your future belongs to the brave. And as you stand at the crossroads of ease and challenge, safety and risk, the known and the unknown, hear the call deep within your soul, the call to rise, to fight, to push beyond what feels comfortable and safe, to chase the life that demands everything from you, because the greatest enemy is comfort, and true life, true freedom, true greatness waits just beyond the edge of your comfort zone.